So today we are going to be talking about a big topic about not feeling good enough and how often you feel not good enough, especially when you're auditioning, when you're taping, and even more so when you have bigger opportunities, a bigger tape for a bigger movie, a bigger role, a bigger name for the director, a bigger name for the partner that you're going to act with. So anything that's going to be a juicier opportunity is usually going to trigger that feeling. You might not recognize the feeling of not feeling good enough, but you might have another version of it. So you might feel like when you're getting an important audition or self-tape, you might feel like, oh shoot, I'm not big enough, I'm not small enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not juicy enough, I'm not looking a certain way, you might feel. You might also feel like when you're actually doing your tape or your audition, you might feel a little bit icky inside, and so you might leave feeling like you were not really experiencing any joy from the inside when you were doing your tape or when you were doing your auditioning, your audition, sorry. You may not have been feeling like yourself in a way. And that's kind of an icky feeling. And then another version of it is that if you get like a pressured type of tape or audition and it's like a last minute thing with a lot of pages and maybe a lot of big emotions and a lot of technical language, you might feel like you're doubting yourself, that you're overthinking. So it might trigger some fear, some panic for you. And you might not name it or label it as I'm not good enough. But at the core, at the root of all of these feelings, whether it's I should look different, I should behave different, I should have this under my belt, I should not feel this way when I'm acting or auditioning, or I should not feel all this panic. If you boil down all of these experiences when you're auditioning or even when you're on set, it's the experience of not being good enough, right? And it's a yucky bleh type of feeling because you're not doing this profession to feel this way. What I want to say is that maybe you have experienced that a couple times. Maybe you didn't know it was boiling down at the root of it to the feeling of not feeling good enough. But that is what it is, and it's true for everybody. It's true for every actor, and we have so many actors move through our community, and when they join, usually that's the biggest feeling that people will have, whether it takes the face of I don't look a certain way, or I think too much, or I panic too much. What it boils down to is I'm not feeling like myself. I'm not feeling good enough. So I think I have to be different. I think I have to adjust that. So what you may have been doing all these years is attend a lot of acting classes, taking a lot of teachings, seeking the best gurus out there in order to improve, in order to get better, in order to fix yourself. And yet the feeling hasn't changed. And actually, if that did work, if acting classes did work, you would see all the people walking out of acting classes and workshops saying, I feel amazing. I feel super great in my body. I feel great in my instrument. I don't retract or repress when I'm in front of a camera. I don't shrink. And it's not true, right? All the actors that come through our community, and we're over 1,000 now, are all feeling a level of not being good enough, whether they're beginners or whether they're working actors. So what is actually happening? That's the interesting question. What is actually happening is that what you're feeling that we're tagging as not good enough is that you're not feeling human enough. So let me explain that. You have been conditioned, you have been raised, trained, programmed, and wired to behave a certain way so that you can always please others. You've had to manage and repress your emotions to please your family. You've had to manage and repress your behavior, your thinking, and your feelings at school so that everyone accepted you, so that you would get validated and that you would be fed some value back and some belonging. And then in the culture, everyone's being raised this way. So everyone is walking around repressing impulses, repressing emotions, repressing instincts. So what you have is a society of people who are hiding their truth, who are hiding their humanity. What is it like to be a human? The human experience, if you look at little, very little people, or if you remember from yourself, before you've been educated, before you've been conditioned, your experience was very free and very human, which means that when you felt an emotion, you felt it. And then you felt another one, you felt it, and it had the time to finish its arc and get out of your system. But then you get told that you need to repress that. If not, you'll be reprimanded and punished, and there'll be consequences. So very fast, you learned to repress, hold back, hide, because if you don't, you will have to pay the consequences, and your survival when you're a child depends on it. You want your family to love you, to protect you, to feed you, to nurture you, right? You want your family to keep you safe, so you do what you're told. And your family means well, but this is the culture that we live in. This is also how they've been conditioned. They've been conditioned to tell you to shush when you cry, to stop yelling when you're angry, to turn it down when you're happy. So everything that you have felt, especially in a big way, has been turned down. And if you didn't turn it down, you felt the consequences. Same thing at school. You've been asked to sit down, to shut up, to do what you're told, to eat when you're told, to pee when you're told, to learn what you're told, to regurgitate what you're told, to learn how you're supposed to learn. So everything has been wired, not paying attention to you. You haven't been invited. You haven't had a voice in how you were educated. You didn't have a say in your education. It was downloaded onto you. It was pressed into you. It was shoved down your throat. So all of that has told you and taught you over and over and over, again and again, you, whatever you are feeling, is not good enough. You need to feel this emotion. You need to repress it. You need to behave this way. You need to think this way, right? So everything that you have felt authentically when you were little has been suppressed. So the message, the narrative, when that was repressed was, whatever it is that's going on in there, feeling, emotion, thoughts, not good enough. So turn it down, take it off, cut it off, and replace it with something that will please everyone. So your humanity has been taken out of you, which is why you keep thinking in terms of, I'm not good enough. I need to improve. I need to get better. I need to learn from someone else. And you're never relying on your humanity because you've been told since the beginning that your humanity is not interesting to anyone. It should be repressed. If not, you'll have to pay the consequences. Does that make sense? So when you're feeling that ickiness, that I need to look different, I need to think different, I need to behave different, I shouldn't feel this fear, I shouldn't feel this panic, I should feel differently because this is an icky feeling when I'm auditioning or when I'm taping, it's because you're actually missing the connection with your humanity. You're not feeling yourself because every single day you've been asked to put yourself on the side. Behave like others want you to behave. Don't behave like yourself. Behave like we want you to behave. Don't behave like yourself. Behave like we want you to behave. Don't behave like yourself. Behave like we want you to behave. Don't behave like yourself. Non-stop. Every day, all day long. So guess who you have become? Someone who is not yourself. You've become someone who is not your true human. So you're not feeling human enough. And it is an icky feeling. And it doesn't make any sense. And it won't serve you. And you can't improve it because you're perfect underneath all of that. So the way to work through this is not to go to more acting classes. Because again, if acting classes worked, everyone would walk out of their acting class and would feel incredible inside, would feel great from the inside out. Not from the, oh, I did the scene right, so now I can feel great. No, they would feel human and themselves enough. Whatever emotion would come in, they would feel great. And that would show up in the work, right? So the work is not to try and learn more external tricks and methods. The work is to undo all that so that you can be human enough. And you'll always be human enough. The word good, the word bad, they don't exist in our community. There's no such thing as being good enough. It doesn't exist. What's the reference? Where's the manual of someone being good enough? It doesn't make any sense. And yet, all of the actions you're taking, all the behaviors you're pressuring into your system or to avoid that sensation of not being good enough, because it's been pressed into you. It's been wired into you. There's no way that you could not feel that way, right? So the way to work through that is to help you unlearn all the conditioning, help you undo all of these things that have been oppressed and conditioned and shoved down your throat, so that you can rediscover what it's like to truly be human and feel your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, your behaviors, so that you can become your unique self again. And that is what is interesting as an artist. That is what will make you stop comparing yourself to others, whether you're small, big, whatever size you are, whatever color you are. You are the only thing, the only combination of elements in the entire world. You are extraordinarily human and unique, and that is perfect. There's nothing to improve. There's nothing to better about that. The only thing you need to do is undo everything, every outside learning trick out there that made you believe that whatever combo you have is not good enough. It's perfect. It's human. If it's human, it is human enough. Nature does not make any mistakes. You are perfect. You only need to remove whatever made you believe that you were not. Because when you believe those things, then you start seeking for outside energies and outside validation and outside tricks and methods and etc., etc. And you're never with yourself. If you're not with yourself, you will not feel great in your body, in your instrument, or in your scenes, and with your characters. So the second you start really allowing your humanity to shine through, whatever that looks like, whatever emotion, whatever impulse, whatever thought, all of your humanity is human, and it's perfect, therefore, because nature made it, right? So once you start allowing that to shine through, because you've undone the conditioning, then you'll feel your genius. If this is interesting for you, if you want more information about that, make sure that you DM us. We also have a waiting list in the About section, in the links in the bio. I think I'm going to add a free resource. It's called How to Go From Good to Great. All right, thank you guys. Undo, undo, undo. Bye.